Welcome back into another episode of Rounding Third Baseball Podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison with us tonight. How we doing, bud?
Awesome. How you doing, Nick?
Not too bad. Not too bad. We'll get into all the news and the latest free agents and trades and all that stuff. But first, make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can also subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
And as always, sharing is caring. Feel free to share the podcast with everybody you know.
Yes, please. All right. Leading off tonight, we'll just go over, obviously, kind of the big news right now is we're kind of waiting for Yamamoto to sign with someone here. He has been all over the country. He has met with a couple teams a couple of times. I know he went back to the Yankees, was it yesterday, after meeting with them initially. So he's doing it correctly. Like, he's shopping around. He's driving the number up. Supposedly, Bleacher Report said today that no team has offered him $300 million yet. So that number's coming from somewhere. We just don't know where. But the teams that I've heard so far that are in it for real are Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox. The Phillies also FaceTimed with him. I guess Bryce Harper hopped on the phone with him. So Phillies could be a spot that kind of comes out of nowhere. But it seems like those are the teams that are actively still pursuing Yamamoto.
Yeah, and if you look back over at baseball the last 20 years, those are always the four teams that are competing for the top end of the talent. It's the two New York teams, Boston, LA. And there's a rumor a couple days ago the Red Sox had extended a $300 million offer to a free agent pitcher. I think a lot of us thought it was Yamamoto. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. Could have been Snell. Who knows? But I'm shocked he hasn't gotten to his number yet. But it makes sense if he's still cruising around. He's trying to do his due diligence, make the right decision, and by kind of dragging this out, drive the number up, because all indications are he's probably worth what he's asking, assuming he comes over and does what we think he can do. Yeah. But the one caution I always have with these players coming over from Japan and Korea is that they almost always get over here and a year later get Tommy John surgery, because they throw so many innings over there. Yeah. So much. They play year round. They throw so many innings. I mean, Shohei's had 2 Tommy Johns, but like when you look back at the pitchers that have come over, they almost always go under some sort of major surgery within like 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it will be interesting. Well, do I want Yamamoto in Boston? Yes, of course. Yep. I mean, we need starting pitching like crazy.
Bad.
If he goes to the Phillies, that rotation will be lights out. If he goes to the Dodgers, that helps with their starting pitching mess. You don't know what you're going to get with Buehler coming back. Who else do they got? Shelby Miller out there. You don't know the status of Dustin May out there.
Yeah. Gonsolin, you've got a lot of question marks out there.
Yeah, a lot of guys coming back from injury. You don't know. If I don't know if he wants to pitch in Yankee Stadium, he doesn't want to pitch on that little league field. Like, that's a big factor. A short right field, like, I don't know if I want to go there and spend 8 years of my career giving up fly balls to right for a grand slam. Like, I don't know.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. My gut says he goes to the freaking Dodgers.
Yep.
But it wouldn't surprise me if the Yankees just come in and blow the doors off him and give Garrett Cole a bona fide number 2 to back him up.
Yeah, my understanding is he's very close with Shohei and very close with Yoshida. So the draw of LA and Boston are very clear. But at the same time, the glitz and glamour of New York is hard to give up when you're looking to come in and make a name for yourself and make a splash.
Yeah, I mean, but if he comes to Boston, he's probably our ace.
Oh yeah, I would think immediately he's your ace.
Yeah, so I mean that could also be a factor too.
We can pretend like Chris Sale is going to come back one day and give us 25 starts and be the ace like he was supposed to be 4 or 5 years ago, but that ship has sailed. You need an ace, and he would absolutely be the ace.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, talking about potential aces. Tyler Glasnow gets traded from the Rays with Manuel Margot to the LA Dodgers. Glasnow goes and gets an extension right away, 5 years for 135. If this guy can stay on the field, he will be absolutely dominant. He is Jacob deGrom Jr. He just cannot stay on the field at all.
Well, what kills me is why do the Dodgers keep loading themselves up with these guys that can't get on the field? So look at Tyler Glasnow. In 2018, made 11 starts. 2019 made 12 starts. 2020 made 11, which actually was a full season given a 60-game schedule. In 21, he made 14 starts. In 22, he made 2, and in 23, he made 21 starts. This guy is exactly that. He's Jacob deGrom. He is a half-season pitcher at best and has been that way for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like, this is not like it's a couple of rough years. It's like, no, this is his career.
Yeah.
And you've already got guys that have missed significant time. Bueller, Gonsolin, Dustin May's got questions. Kershaw, nobody knows what's happening with him. Well, you're just throwing yet another big question mark into your rotation because that's all you've got. The Dodgers have nobody they can say, I know that guy is going to give me 30 starts next year. Not a guy in the rotation they can count on.
Nope. However, if Tyler Glasnow does snap out of it, which the Rangers were hoping deGrom did, but didn't, obviously. If Glasnow does somehow find a way to stay on the field, he is disgusting.
Yep.
One of the best pitchers in the league. His stuff is electric.
Gross.
I mean, it's unhittable. Again, you're throwing another $135 million at a guy that you're not sure is going to stay on the field. It's just money for the Dodgers. They don't care.
It is. They're in a massive market. They've got a boatload of revenue. They've got owners that are uber wealthy. They don't care. If they waste all 135 and the guy doesn't show, nobody's going to lose sleep at night or lose their seventh house. Like, they're going to be okay.
Right.
But the Dodgers continue. We've given Brian Cashman a hard time for a long time now about playing fantasy baseball. The Dodgers continue to chase talent, but not dependability and consistency. Yeah. Like that rotation is loaded with guys that have amazing stuff. If they got on the field, man, if he was healthy, he'd be so good. Man, if we had all these guys together, our rotation would be nasty. Man, if if is the crookedest word in the English language because it's loaded with assumption.
Yeah.
And they just cannot get a 5-man rotation on the field together for more than like 4 weeks. And then somebody drops.
Right. I mean, all of their guys have potential Cy Young stuff.
Oh, easy. They got 5 guys that if those guys are healthy, yeah, that's the best rotation we've probably ever seen.
Yeah.
But when was the last time those 5 guys were all healthy? Never.
Never. Right.
Never. No. It's more uncertainty in that rotation. And why do the Dodgers continually get bumped? Because their pitching lets them down every freaking year.
Well, and Dave Roberts mismanages it every single time.
I mean, that's why he's going to bullpen games. Game 2, he's going to a bullpen game because he's not sure he's got any arms out there. I mean, it's bad. It's bad out there. I don't know what you do, but adding Glasnow, although it's a super sexy signing to bring in that talent, if you get 100 starts the next 5 years out of him, that's the best you're going to do.
Yeah, I will be shocked if he starts 100 games in the 5 years he's there.
Yep, me too. You're probably going to get 80 starts out of him, but maybe that's all you need. Who knows?
Yep. Young-Ho Lee from the Korean League, from the KBO, signs with the Giants for 6 years, 113, an opt-out after 4 years. I think this is a good signing for the Giants. They finally land a free agent. And all indications is he is going to translate to the baseball. It might take to Major League Baseball. Sorry, not to the baseball.
We get it.
I mean, usually it takes a little bit for them to kind of settle in, see the pitching, and have a decent year. I think this is a perfect fit for him. If you have not seen his press conference, do yourself a favor and look it up. Like, this guy is electric. I think it's exactly what the Giants need in that clubhouse to kind of spice it up, get them back in the running. It was really funny. It was good.
Yeah, the guy is an absolute hitting machine. He's got a little bit of sneaky power, but he will wear out the gaps. And pitchers, he'll drive pitchers crazy because he makes great contact, fouls off a lot of balls, goes deep in counts, and wears out the gaps, and then occasionally drops one over the wall on you. He's going to bring some consistency and some action to the top of that lineup that the Giants need.
Yeah.
That lineup was stale last year.
And in Oracle Park, you hit it in the gaps, you're running forever.
Yep.
So
yeah, especially in the left center. It feels like that ball just will just drift and you'll be running all day.
Yeah, absolutely. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. signs back with the Diamondbacks. Let's go Snakes.
There we go.
3 years, $42 million. That's perfect. I don't think Lourdes really wanted to leave. He fit with that clubhouse. He was a big reason why they were successful. I love that he went back to Arizona.
Yeah, and it's a good contract. You're talking 3 years, $14 million per year. You know, I think that's a pretty good deal for the Diamondbacks and not bad for him. But to keep that group together as much as they can and run it back, I think is awesome.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so this is where free agency kind of took a weird turn this week in the Kansas City Royals. I mean, I'm going to preface this saying these aren't big, sexy picks, but they're moves.
It's a bunch of them, though.
Yeah, a bunch of moves, and they made their team better. They signed Stratton, and then they signed Seth Lugo.
Away from the Red Sox.
So crazy there. And then Michael Wacha, 2 years, $32 million. And then Hunter Renfroe for 1 year. So Renfroe gets on his, I think, 6th team in 5 years.
That guy's been everywhere.
And I don't understand that.
If I'm Hunter Renfroe, I just stop unpacking my bags. Like, I just stop.
I don't get it. Like, he is a Gold Glove outfielder. Yes, he's a high strikeout guy, but he's also a 30 home run a year guy. Like,
he's 30 and 100. That's what he does.
Yeah, and Gold Glove defense. I don't understand why he's not an everyday player on some roster out there. Well, I mean, he will be this year. But
I think the problem for Renfroe is that where he is a power RBI Gold Glove defensive kind of guy, he's the kind of guy everybody wants. So when you have to make a move and you need to pick up some pieces or you got to dump some payroll, like, he's the guy that's the easiest to move, I think, because there's not a lot of guys like him. And I think his problem is he consistently has gone to teams that haven't been good. He's signed places that weren't good, and trade deadline comes along. It's like, well, sorry, dude, you're out of here.
Yeah.
And I think he's been a little bit of a victim of poor choices in free agency and bad luck because he's an easy guy to trade.
Yeah, it's fair. So with these signings for the Royals, did they make themselves a serious AL Central contender?
They are my pick. They are my pick right now for the AL Central.
That's crazy.
I mean, like, easy.
I'm not quite there yet, because the Twins are still the Twins, and I think they have a stranglehold on that division right now.
Yeah, they lost Sonny Gray, though. They've done nothing to replace him.
You're right.
But I look at it as, and I don't disagree, I think the Twins have gotten a little bit worse. The Guardians have done nothing. The White Sox have basically stripped it down. And the Royals, I think the Royals are probably, if they're not winning that division, they're finishing second.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know the Tigers weirdly finished strong last year, but it's not saying much in that division to finish second.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't even mention them because it's not worth talking about. Because
right, and
the only pitcher they had was Erod. He's gone. I mean, that team's going nowhere fast. So
yeah, and there's no wild cards coming out of that division either. Like, and you either win the division or not.
No, exactly. And the Tigers went and signed Flaherty, which is good. Flaherty's a nice piece, but he doesn't get you over the hump. I mean, I feel like the Tigers are probably fighting with the White Sox for last.
Yeah. I forgot to put that one in. I forgot that signing. That's a weird one.
Well, it's one that makes no sense. Jack Flaherty, in theory, had all these other options. He went to Detroit.
Yeah.
I didn't think anybody willingly signed in Detroit anymore. I didn't think that was a thing.
It had to have been the biggest money package, right?
Like, it had to have been. It's the Javi Baez effect. Ever since he's gone there, nobody wants to go there.
Yeah, I was really, yeah.
But rumors were the Orioles were in on Flaherty. The Red Sox had kicked the tires on Flaherty. The Cardinals had kicked the tires on bringing him back. And there are a couple of the teams that were looking at him. Then all of a sudden he signs with the Tigers for a 1-year deal. And you're like, where did that come from?
Right. In 1 year. Like
why?
the 1 year is weird to me.
Unless he thinks he's going to go to Detroit, pitch in that super pitcher friendly ballpark, put up crazy numbers and get paid next year. But why go spend the season in Detroit when somebody else would have paid you?
Yeah, right. And get your teeth kicked in every night.
Yeah, with nobody behind you.
No. He could be a trade deadline piece to a contender.
He could be like Aroldis Chapman with the Royals this year. Like, I'm going to go there for a little while, but when you guys aren't good, will you trade me away?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Would make sense.
Yeah. Martin Perez signs a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Love this move.
I do too. Like, it's not a big needle mover for the Pirates, but it gives them a little bit of depth behind their young guys. It gets you a veteran pitcher that has been fairly successful in the league.
Yes, very.
And I think it helps that pitching staff for sure. And 1 year, $8 million, like, why not? I mean, it's almost like the depth piece the Red Sox could have used, but
I know, isn't it weird? These teams are going signing these like solid veteran starters that are going to slot in somewhere. I mean, it's genius. I mean, I really wish that building a major league roster, the theory and the strategy behind that made it to Boston. Right. Because if you can have Martin Perez for 1 year and $8 million,
yeah,
like, why were the Red Sox not in line for that to sign that deal? And I love it. I love it for the Pirates, a stable veteran who will come in and bring some stability and consistency to that rotation, young rotation. That move is huge. That might be the most understated move of the offseason for the Pirates.
Yeah, very much so.
Because that is going to help them so much. And that might be the most understated move because that is there's a sneaky benefit to the Pirates to have a guy like that in the clubhouse.
Yep. And that division is going to be ultra competitive last year. We saw it at the beginning of the year this year, right?
Yep.
I mean, the Reds, where they finished, you got the Brewers, you got the Cubs. The Cardinals are not going to have another season like they had last year.
No, that will not happen again.
I don't see it. It's interesting. It's a great depth piece for the Pirates. I
love it.
So
very understated, but a huge move.
Yeah,
and something I wish the Red Sox would just do already. Like,
sign
somebody, sign anybody.
I think they're waiting for this Yamamoto deal to come out. And I think that's what Snell's waiting for. And, the other like big free agent pieces.
Yeah, what kills me, and maybe that probably is exactly what they're doing. Because, if you're going to pay this guy $250, $275, $300 million, whatever it turns out to be, that's a large portion of your offseason spending budget.
Yeah.
It's like you can't go get Snell and be like, oh crap, now Yamamoto said yes, how are we going to make this work? Like, it's probably one or the other for them. But the Red Sox have done nothing but wait this offseason for other things to happen. And in the meantime, you got the Braves making trades left and right. You got the Royals signing all the good depth pieces away. The Diamondbacks are making moves. The Dodgers are making moves. The Rays are making moves. Like everybody around you is making moves.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah. I agree.
Waiting. You're waiting. The offseason is going to be freaking over when they finish waiting for moves.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to the next big free agents to sign and kind of talk about it then, but I think they're waiting for this free agent to get out of the way, and then we'll see the rest. But Tyler Mahle signs for 2 years, $22 million with the Texas Rangers. So another starter here. This one's interesting to me because he's not coming back until July. Now, that's 3 pitchers. We'll get to Max Scherzer in a little bit. But Scherzer just went into back surgery, and his timetable is now June or July. Jacob deGrom's timetable is June or July. So now you have 3 starters that could possibly come back in July, and no one to start right now.
Yeah, right. They've got to get to June or July, and then they're going to be ridiculously good.
You have Andrew Heaney, John Gray.
And was it the Dunsting? What's his name?
Oh, and Dane Dunning.
Dunning, thank you. Yeah, and you got Dunning.
You have
3 serviceable major league arms.
Oh, and Eovaldi. Obviously Eovaldi.
Yeah, Eovaldi.
So
it's Eovaldi and some decent guys. You know,
Yeah.
they'll be okay they'll be okay. They won't fall out of contention. But when the cavalry arrives, look out.
Yeah. It just kind of interesting how that's kind of playing out. But I mean, who
Well,
knows?
and what's tough too for the Rangers, it kind of hamstrings what you can do. You can't go sign a couple of front end starters when you got all these guys coming back in a few months.
Right.
But you got to survive to when they come back. You know, you don't want to start the defense of your World Series championship by being, 10 games out of first place by June 1st.
Right.
You know, you've got to be in contention still. So
yeah,
it's an odd spot for the Rangers to be in because they're going to get an insane amount of talent back for the second half of the year, but you got to get there.
Yeah, I agree. And then the last thing I have leading off tonight is somehow Framber Valdez's name has shown up in trade rumors, and the reasoning is the Astros want to try to get underneath the cap.
Well,
and
Nick, it's not a cap, right? It's a competitive balance tax.
Sorry, the luxury
Baseball
tax.
people will not let you call it a cap.
Sorry. The luxury tax.
It's a soft cap. That's what it is. But we're going to call it a competitive balance tax.
Whatever. And one of the teams rumored around Valdez is the Red Sox.
Amen. I don't. What do you want for him? You can have everybody.
Yep. I'll
deliver them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd just put Framber Valdez out there with Connor Wong and call it a day. Send everybody else out. Yeah.
They'll be better than they were last year.
No joke.
I mean, that dude is an absolute innings eating ground ball machine that by the fifth inning has the other team so mad that they can't hit anything solid.
Yep.
It's unreal to watch him work.
I hate the Astros and everything they are, but when he is on, he is fun to watch pitch.
Oh my God. And he just pounds a strike zone and drives you crazy.
Yeah. That two-seamer with a ton of movement, that change up on the outside corner, and then that devastating curveball that just breaks forever.
Yep. It's
so
he's Johan Santana, current version.
Yep.
Just wears you out.
It will be interesting to see if he's actually moved. I mean, the Astros probably have the market to flirt with a luxury tax, I would imagine. But I don't know. It was just interesting. His name came up in rumors this week.
Well, the issues the Astros have is that they've got to do something with Bregman. And I think their concern is, getting him re-signed may require them to move a piece to not kind of blow up their budget. Because I mean, Houston is a massive market, so I don't think with the Astros it's a money issue.
Right.
I think for them it's more so they just don't want to be caught in that competitive balance tax trap where once you're in it once, then you start getting penalized at a faster rate, then it just snowballs on you.
Yeah, I mean it's fair. I mean, so
but Tucker's gonna have to get paid, Bregman's gonna have to get paid, Alvarez is gonna have to get paid. Like they've got some guys that are gonna be coming up for some big extensions here, and. Who are you going to keep out of that group? Probably Alvarez. Can't have them all.
You're going to keep Alvarez out of all of them. He's got to be your top priority. And if he's not, you got to. Hey, it's crazy.
Has to be. So then you got to rank him after that. You can't lose Alvarez. You can't lose Kyle Tucker, who's one of the probably 7 or 8 best hitters in baseball. Bregman, he's a spark plug. So then you look around and go, well, Valdez. Can we find another Valdez? Yeah, maybe. We got Urquidy. We got Verlander for another year. They got arms.
Javier.
So right. So like maybe he's got to be the one that goes to protect the other 3, but
and I think he gets you the biggest return. He's going to get you the biggest return if you have to ship him out. And there's no doubt about it. But yeah, so just interesting there. Kind of a weird week news-wise. Like we were expecting some of these free agents to start popping off the board, and I mean we had a few, but not the big ones. The big ones still haven't gone anywhere yet. So
and this offseason's been hard because it was like a little bit of a flurry at the start, and then it was everybody waiting for Ohtani. Then Ohtani signed. Then it's a little bit of flurry behind that, and now everybody's waiting for Yamamoto to sign. Then there'll probably be a flurry of activity after that, and then Snell's going to sign. Then there'll be a flurry of activity after that.
Yeah,
and then next thing you know, it's going to be late January, and guys are going to be like, "Well, where am I going to spring training? I better sign soon."
Right. News is Bellinger's back to the Cubs and negotiating with them. That's the latest I've heard on him.
He's asking $200 million.
$200 million is what he's asking for.
Yep.
hell, whatever, give it to him.
I mean, 200 million is all relative. 200 million over 5 years or 10 years?
Right.
Over 10 years, okay, you can have it. Over 5, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. So, he's probably looking to go somewhere to end his career, right? I mean
he's
if
only
he's
in his
asking,
mid-20s, right?
well, he's got to be. He's a free. Well, when did he come up? How old was he?
He was
I mean,
young.
he was. Yeah, but I don't think he's mid-20s. He's got to be closer to 27, 28, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, he just turned 28. Okay. I
Yeah,
thought he was like 26, 27. All right. So yeah. A
You
10-year
get it-
contract would get him most of the way to the end.
Even if you give him what, let's say 8 and 200, that's what, 25 million a year?
Yep.
Ish. So, I mean, I don't know. Sure, do it. Just give it to him.
If you're going to get what you got last year, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're going to get Cody Bellinger from the couple years before that, then that's going to hurt.
Well, I think that's what kind of maybe teams are struggling with is he came up with the Dodgers, 50 home runs, all this stuff, and then kind of fell into a groove and then couldn't really get his way back. Like he was struggling to find his stroke there for a while.
23 years old, wins the MVP in his third season in the big leagues, and then proceeds to just suck for the next 3 years to the point where they were benching him and using him as a fourth outfielder.
Yeah. And maybe that's what teams are worried about. If they sign him for a 10-year deal or whatever, a long-term deal, and he kind of settles in, gets comfortable, and just kind of loses it. Maybe that's
exactly.
what.
Which Cody Bellinger are you going to get? Is he going to be the guy from last year again or the guy from the prior 3?
Yeah.
Because he's shown he can do it. He's also shown he can.
Right. So, yeah. So just to sum it all up, still waiting to hear about Yamamoto.
We still don't know Jack,
visiting.
Nick. We still don't know Jack.
Pretty much what it sums up to be. Dodgers are still in heavy, like they're heavy. If they don't get Yamamoto, they're gonna go after Snell. They're not done. Dodgers aren't done.
It's dumb.
Royals are gonna win the AL Central, and
Red Sox are gonna finish last, not even be able to field the team at this rate.
Yep. And that pretty much sums up this week in free agency.
Yep. We'll see you guys in the new year.
Crazy.
I do want to go back to that point though, Nick. This has been a really weird offseason because generally there's not so many like big anchor players that are like dictating the rest of the market. Right. Like Shohei dictated the most of the market. Yamamoto's dictating the market. Snell will dictate a lot of the market. The Soto trade really changed the market. Like you got 3 or 4 guys that have really what their movement has dictated how the rest of the offseason played out.
Yes.
We generally have a couple players each offseason that are like those big anchors, but they don't necessarily change what happens. They just you just know there's only so many teams are going to be in on them.
Right.
But Shohei and Yamamoto and Snell and these guys, I feel like this is the first time we've seen a situation where you literally have the market can't move until these guys go, and we're stuck.
Right. Yeah, there's like a log jam.
Yeah, you need to know what he signs for because that's going to kind of open the rest of the market.
Right. Yeah, and I mean there are some teams that aren't looking to make moves, or they are looking to make moves, but their roster's pretty much set. Like you look at the Atlanta Braves, right? Like their outfield, their field, their starting lineup's not going anywhere.
No.
So they're not they're in on pitching maybe.
And they're trading for depth pieces. Like that's it.
Right, exactly. So they're active, but they're not in it, where usually they probably would be.
Right.
But yeah, the big market teams, surprise, surprise, are dominating the offseason.
Like it used to be. Like you go back,
right.
Think back to when, the early 2000s. That was how, 90s, early 2000s, it was always the Red Sox, the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Always those 4 that were competing for everybody that was worth anything.
Yep. You had the A-Rod free agency. He went to Boston, and then MLB was like, nope, can't go to Boston because you're taking a pay cut. Then the Yankees signed him. Yep. The same thing happened with Mark Teixeira. He was coming to Boston. The league stepped in and said, nope, can't go there. You're taking a pay cut.
The big Manny Ramirez deal. You had the big, the big Pedro Martinez trade, the Kurt Schilling. Like you had this constant battle between the Red Sox and Yankees over these players, and the Dodgers would grab a couple and the Mets would grab a couple. But, and then for a while there, it kind of quieted down. You had the Mariners making moves, getting Luis Castillo. Then you had the Rangers signing people, and the Astros built built a dynasty down there, and you're like, oh, like the Red Sox and Yankees don't just fight over everybody anymore. Like there's other teams out there too, and
Right.
hell, now the Red Sox can't sign anybody for that matter, so it doesn't really matter. But
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think this is the first time in a while that, like teams are waiting for one person to get out of the way to see what their next move is. Like everyone's checklist is the same.
Yep.
Like we're like, okay, we're all focused on Yamamoto. Okay. Ready? He's gone. Okay. Who's next? Okay.
yeah, it's like a big draft board. Once they
Blake-
come off the board, I can move to the guy that's next, but I can't do that until
Exactly.
he's gone.
Yeah. It's
like
weird.
I think back to Bryce Harper signing. He didn't sign until like literally before spring training started. That didn't stop the whole free agent marketplace from happening. Free agent signed. Bryce Harper just sat out.
Right.
Like, but now the market doesn't move until these guys sign.
Yeah. It is. It's very interesting. I mean, that's a great point.
It's really strange, but
I had never thought of it really like that before, but
it just feels like you can't make progress until a few of these guys go.
Yeah.
And you hit, you get Ohtani the other way, now you hit Yamamoto. Now you're gonna hit Snell. Like you're just hitting the next guy in order. It's like dominoes.
Yep. And you have Imanaga out there still. He's going to be a decent starter for someone to pick up. So,
and he was posted a couple weeks ago, so he's only got a few more weeks before his posting window closes.
Yamamoto's only got 20 days left. So
yeah,
it's gonna be quick.
Yep.
And I think he's close. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I wake up tomorrow morning and I have Yamamoto news on my phone.
They're just going to the Yankees.
Yeah, it's just All right. So we'll move on from free agent talk, and we'll get to the semifinals of our current manager bracket. We've been putting these polls out on our Facebook page. You guys have been voting on them. So this is all viewers and followers picks about who the best current manager is. We had a bracket, we put it out, and we have our final matchup set for this week. In the AL, Bruce Bochy went against Brandon Hyde.
Tough matchup.
It's a tough matchup. It was really close, but Bruce Bochy got it in the end. So Bruce Bochy is moving on to the finals against the NL winner, which we had Brian Snitker against Torey Lovullo, and Lovullo takes a late week surge and comes back and beats Snitker. Snitker was ahead for most of the week.
By a lot, too, like comfortably for a while.
And then Lovullo came back and beat him. So it will be Bruce Bochy against Torey Lovullo for your current manager bracket. So
it's funny, you got the World Series matchup all over again.
Yeah, kind of weird how that worked out, huh?
Yeah, right. I feel like they're riding the wave of recent news, but
yeah. So Bruce Bochy's going to win. So, but we'll see. But these were all on your votes. It's been interesting to see people's picks and stuff like that, and the comments on why they chose them or why they didn't. But it's been cool. So.
It's been fun. A lot of times you don't pay much attention to the managers, but now we actually did. And you got to look at how managers have managed and how the teams have done. And man, what you find is baseball fans actually really do care about who the manager is. It's not just the guy in the dugout. They really do care.
Yeah. And it's funny to see these like good managers that they voted out in the first round.
Right.
So it's cool. But
it's been wild.
All right. We'll get into our top 5 list for this week. Harrison has got some top 5 lists that I get to struggle through this week.
Yeah, so this is gonna be fun. I won't be too obscure on you, Nick, but
if you are watching, you can comment and help me out all you want
please.
to. So please,
if you're watching, jump in. I promise I won't leave Nick twisting for too long. So, in honor of the Dodgers, apparently building this super team so they can go win the World Series every year, I wanted to go back to the last time they won the World Series. Although I understand, Nick, you don't like to count this as a World Series win, but it was.
It's not.
Go back to the season of 2020. So what makes this fun is that 2020 was a year that most of us don't remember because it was a 60-game season. They played 40 games in division to keep travel to a minimum. Nobody was there. The season was over. It was literally, June to September and over.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched a pitch of the World Series because I honestly didn't even realize it was going on. So this is a weird season. But I want to pull some top 5 lists out of that and onto the Dodgers. So to kick it off, Nick, let's talk hitters in 2020.
Okay.
So how many of the top 5 leaders in hits from 2020 can you tell me?
Freddie Freeman.
Absolutely automatic.
Jose Abreu.
Yep.
Luke Voigt.
Nope. Not in hits.
Mookie Betts.
Nope. Just outside.
Dang. Man, Tim Anderson.
No, just missed it, but a good guess. He had a wicked good year that year.
Jose Altuve.
Nope, just missed it also. He's on the edge.
God, man.
Your teams are Washington, Atlanta, and the Yankees.
DJ LeMahieu.
DJ LeMahieu, number 5. Yep.
You said Washington.
Washington. He's not with Washington anymore.
Bryce
But
Harper. No,
Nope.
he signed before that.
He was the shortstop in Washington in 2020.
Turner.
Trey Turner. Yep.
And what was the last team?
Atlanta, your DH. Still there.
Marcell Ozuna.
Marcell Ozuna.
Weird.
So your top 5 in hits were Trey Turner, number 1 with 78.
Should have got that one.
Number 2.
78. He was the hit leader.
I know.
It's just funny.
These stats are hilarious to look at.
It's funny.
So Trey Turner, 78 hits. Marcell Ozuna, 77. Jose Abreu, 76. Freddie Freeman, 73. DJ LeMahieu, 71.
Dang.
And then Tim Anderson was actually in 9th with 67, so he was not far off.
Yeah.
So those are your hits leaders. Let's go home runs.
Okay.
So how many of the top 5, I guess it's really technically 6 with ties, home run leaders from 2020?
Okay. Luke Voigt.
Nailed it. 22, the leader.
Yeah, I knew that one. Jose Abreu.
Yep.
Freddie Freeman. Why not?
Nope.
No, not Freeman. Alvarez.
Nope.
Bregman.
Nope. Close. These are guys that are like all just outside the top 10.
I'll stay with the Astros. Tucker.
Okay, there's no more Astros.
Okay, no more Astros.
I'll take you off that train. So you've got Atlanta.
Rafael Devers.
Nope. You've got Atlanta, Cleveland, San Diego, LA. Or sorry, Anaheim.
Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez.
Trout.
San Diego, Atlanta.
San Diego. Nelson Cruz.
No, but a good guess. He just finished outside of the top 5.
Atlanta.
He was a hits leader too.
Acuna. Oh no. Who that did it?
Ozuna, yep.
And then San Diego.
The shortstop in San Diego in 2020. He loves his dirt bikes and his PEDs.
Oh, Tatis.
Tatis.
Stupid.
So your top 5 were Luke Voigt, number 1 with 22, Abreu with 19, Ozuna with 18, and then tied for basically 4th, which gets into 5th, Ramirez, Tatis, and Trout with 17.
Gotcha. Yeah. I see, like I have taken Tatis out of shortstop in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I
get it.
I was just like, what? Taken
all right.
completely out.
Lastly, let's go top 5 batting average. There'll be some serious overlap here.
Freeman,
yep.
Abreu,
nope, just missed it.
Dang, because he won the MVP. That's why I keep going back to those.
He did.
Two.
He had a massive season.
Trey Turner.
Then
who else? Ozuna. Tatis.
Nope, just missed it. Your last 2 are numbers 1 and 2, Yankees and Washington.
Oh, LeMahieu. And Turner. I said Turner.
Yeah, not Turner. The other guy in Washington who was pretty good at the time.
Rendon?
No, he's now a Yankee.
Gone. He's now a Yankee. Was Washington.
He was Washington, and he's now a Yankee via San Diego.
Oh, Soto. That's
Soto. Yeah, so you had LeMahieu at 364, Soto at 351, Freddie Freeman at 341, Ozuna at 338, Trey Turner at 335.
It's so hard. It's such a weird season.
It was such a bizarre season. So let's go pitching. Let's go wins. Top 5 in wins.
I couldn't even give you a guess.
These guys are all still pitching.
Okay. Kershaw.
Except for no, they're all still pitching.
All right. So top 5 in pitching in the year 2020.
One of these guys won the Cy Young in a landslide.
Kershaw,
No Kershaw.
No Kershaw. I don't even remember the Cy Young winners from that year. I'm going to be completely honest.
All right. So your teams are Cleveland, Chicago,
Shane Bieber,
Shane Bieber, 8-1 with a 1.63 ERA.
Dylan Cease,
No Cease, just missed it.
Giolito.
Nope. Sorry, Chicago Cubs.
Oh, well, that.
Sorry,
Kyle
I think it's
Hendricks.
to Chicago because you guessed Bieber.
Kyle Hendricks.
Nope. He's with San Diego now. Was in Chicago then.
Snell? No, he wasn't with Chicago.
No.
What am I talking about?
They just re-signed him to like a 5-year deal that we thought was mind-blowing.
Darvish.
Yankees.
Cole.
San Diego. I didn't get this one. And the last one was Atlanta. He's still in Atlanta.
It would be Charlie Morton.
Nope. He missed part of last year and came back late in the season.
Soroka.
No, that's a good guess though.
No, not Kyle Wright. I'm blanking on Atlanta pitchers.
I know. It's trying to think of a good big lefty, big tall lefty. Throws a disgusting curveball. Max Fried.
Oh my God, Nicholas. That was an easy one. Max Fried.
And then the San Diego guy was Zach Davies, who's now with Arizona.
Oh, and he was, I think, with the Cubs for a little bit.
Yeah, he's bounced around a lot. So Shane Bieber 8-1, Yu Darvish 8-3, Garrett Cole 7-3, Zach Davies 7-4, Max Fried 7-0. Pretty good.
I can't believe I didn't get Max Fried. I'm mad. That's ridiculous.
Honestly, he's a name I forget. I forget frequently. All right, let's go. Top 5 pitching strikeout leaders.
Cole.
Actually, no, he was number 6. Just missed it.
Cease.
I just missed it also.
Bieber.
He had a White Sox teammate that's on the list though.
Giolito. Bieber. Did Walker Buehler pitch in 2020?
I do not believe he did.
I don't think he did. Let's see, 2020. Snell?
Nope. So your teams are, so you've got Bieber, you've got the Mets, you've got an old friend of ours in Cincinnati, and then you've got Philadelphia, he's still in Philly.
An old friend of ours in Cincinnati.
We've talked about him a bunch on the show. He is very controversial.
Dude, my brain is off tonight.
He's been known for taking a ball and just chucking it into the outfield seat.
Oh my God. Trevor Bauer
outage
again.
So Mets and Philly.
Mets, man. Phillies, I'll go with Wheeler.
Nope, other guy.
Nola.
I
had a 50-50 shot. And
then this Met is actually due to return to the Rangers here later this year.
Oh, sure. No. Scherzer?
Nope, not Scherzer. The other guy. The other guy that gets hurt a lot.
Oh, DeGrom.
This might have been one of his better seasons.
Well, yeah, he only had to pitch 4 times.
Yeah, he made 12 starts. If you start every 5 days in a 60-game season, he made every start, but about 12 is all you can get out of him. So that was a perfect season for him.
Dude, man.
So hard. Bieber at 122, DeGrom at 104, Bauer at 100, Giolito at 97, Nola at 96, and then Cole was number 6 with 94.
Dude, it's so hard because it was such a weird year for everyone.
It really was.
And baseball wasn't baseball at that point,
No, it was really strange.
The best clips were foul balls getting hit off teddy bears that were sitting in the stands,
right. The cardboard cutouts in the seats, and
yeah,
it was weird.
People's heads getting taken off for the cardboard cutouts on a home run, it was just crazy.
So I want to share an interesting stat with you. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in 2020 that hit under 200 for the season. Now, before I name them off, would you want to venture a guess at anybody that might fall into that category?
Are they well-known stars?
Yes, most of them are very well-known stars.
I mean, that's hard, right? We've talked about this with New England baseball, right? We have 16 games. So if you have one game, you go 0 for 4, your average is in the shirt.
It's the thing. Some of these guys only got, they got less than 200 at bats. It's hard. Right. It's really hard to get things going. And honestly, 1, 2, 3 of these guys are historically low average guys anyways. So this was low for them, but not like way off what they normally do.
All right, so let's go Schwarber,
Good old Schwarber. Yep. 188.
Max Muncy.
Max Muncy, 192.
Um,
He was in Texas at the time. He wins a bunch of gold gloves, so strikes out a lot.
Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo at 181.
Yep. Byron Buxton.
No, good one though. I like that. Javier Baez just got over the 200 mark.
Of course he did. I don't want to say Devers. He's not a low average guy. Let's see here. Rendon.
No, good one though. Rendon actually had a really good season in 2020.
Again, only had to play half the season.
It's the right size season for him.
Yeah.
So one of these guys is currently in Atlanta. And so of the guys you'll get, I think the two that are left are going to be, one of them's currently in Atlanta, and one of them was in Pittsburgh and still is in Pittsburgh.
Okay. McCutchen?
No, good guess though. We like him a lot. Plays in the outfield.
Plays in the outfield, like him a lot. Pittsburgh.
Just re-signed there.
Just re-signed there.
Or so just extended there, I should say.
Got nothing.
Brian Reynolds.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah. And then the other one, he's currently in Atlanta, hits a lot of bombs.
Matt Olson.
Matt Olson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2020, you had Evan White, who led the league at 176. He's in the minors right now. He was with Seattle. Joey Gallo was number 2 at 181. Schwarber number 3 at 188. Brian Reynolds number 4 at 189. Max Muncy 192. Matt Olson 195. Carlos Santana 199.
Yeah. Dang.
Those are some pretty good hitters hitting under 200.
Yeah. I was going to guess Carlos Santana, but he was not an outfielder in Pittsburgh. But that name always pops
he's in
into my head
Pittsburgh now, right? He was in Cleveland then. So, and for the hell of it, bonus question, Nick. In the World Series, keep in mind Tampa Bay and LA, who were the top five players in terms of hits during that 2020 World Series?
Arozarena.
Arozarena was a machine in that World Series.
Yeah. Brett Phillips.
No.
No, but he had that game-winning hit.
He did.
Freeman.
Hit a hit that mattered.
Yeah. Freeman.
Nope.
Betts.
Yep.
Chris Taylor.
No, but he was just outside of the top 5.
Of course he was.
So you've got one Tampa Bay Ray left and 2 Dodgers.
One Tampa Bay Ray left.
Left side of the infield for the Dodgers, outfielder for Tampa.
Seager, because Seager won the World Series champion. And then outfielder for the Rays, you said?
Yeah, so you got the third baseman for the Dodgers, still an outfielder for the Rays.
Turner.
And
then wasn't Kiermaier, was it?
It was Kiermaier.
It was Kiermaier.
Yep. So Arozarena had 8 hits, Seager had 8, Justin Turner had 8, Mookie Betts had 7, Kiermaier had 7.
Dang. Wow.
And this was the first time Mookie Betts' career he actually was productive in the playoffs.
Right.
And it was only in the World Series. He wasn't very good before that, and he was terrible in 18 with the Red Sox.
Yep. Well, that's why we got rid of him, probably.
Yeah. He can't hit in the playoffs.
Yeah, we don't want him. We don't want a perennial MVP candidate.
Send him.
Yeah, send it. Crazy, man. Yeah, that was hard. That was really hard because
it was. I was trying to think of some fun way to tie it into the Dodgers. I'm like, let's go back to 2020, the season that like all of us have forgotten.
Yeah, and
because it was crap.
It is crazy. And like personally, like I was going through a lot, like fighting for my life at that point. So like that, and then on top of the COVID stuff, it was just a weird season.
Yeah, I remember nothing about that summer. Like
no,
nothing.
Mm-mm. Well, you're just in your own house going stir crazy.
Well, we're just like, I'm at home, I'm working from home, like I'm in the pool with the kids, like we didn't go anywhere. It was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly, man. It was weird, but
and like you had no fans in the ballpark, like there was nothing exciting. There were no tense moments. Like it was just such a weird season.
Yeah, all I remember is they should have left Blake Snell in the game. That's the only thing I remember out of 2020. Only thing I remember. And Arozarena hitting a bajillion home runs in the postseason run.
That dude's a savage.
Yeah. And then won Rookie of the Year 3 years later. Anyways, all right.
Yeah, he won Rookie of the Year when he signed his first big extension after being arbitration eligible.
Yeah. Crazy.
It
All
doesn't
right.
make any sense.
Our move on to our rounding third question. We did throw it out. Who is the next big free agent to sign? We kind of talked about it a little bit, obviously, at the top of the show when we were talking about all the free agents. And I mean, in all indications, it's Yamamoto is going to sign next, right? I mean,
It seems like it. It feels like that's the next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
I thought when we first asked the question, I really thought Snell would sign first because Yamamoto's got some time, but I don't think Snell's in a hurry.
No.
There's been zero conversation about Blake Snell at all.
I really haven't heard much about him. You're right. It's been kind of silent.
It's been crazy quiet. I mean, earlier today I heard that the Giants are apparently emerging as the leading candidate to sign him, and that they're now heavily favored to land him.
All right.
But that was today. That was the first thing I've heard about Blake Snell in weeks.
Yeah. Some of our answers, Nick Fanning.
As of 2 hours ago, apparently the Dodgers are out on Blake Snell. That's good.
Wow. Interesting. Until they're not.
Apparently they wouldn't let him overpay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Nick Fanning says Yamamoto. We put this question out early last week, so he said Yamamoto. Henry LaRose said Yamamoto, Snell, and Bellinger are the next top three to go. I agree with that as well.
It seems like Yamamoto's going to be the first one to go out of that group, but I would agree. Those are the three guys left.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, those are the big three left. It's like I said, Yamamoto could sign while we finish up the show here. I mean,
exactly.
it could be any second now. But yeah, the Snell stuff's weird. Like, you really haven't heard his name tossed around too much. You have here and there, but it hasn't been a lot of news on Snell. Like, you've heard the Red Sox were in on him. You heard like rumblings here and there. Well, of course the Red Sox are in on him because they're not going to sign anybody. They're just in on him.
Yeah, the Red Sox are in on him, of course. They're not legitimately going to sign him, but they're in. Which is great. But being in on somebody literally means like you made a phone call and said, "Hey, would you play here?" Well, yeah, if the numbers are right. Okay, great. Good to know.
Yeah. It's a joke, man. I don't know.
It's funny that there's been so little on him until literally today. In the last few hours, stuff has come out about Snell. But another one I found interesting, and you'll like this one, Nick. The Diamondbacks are apparently still focused on signing either Justin Turner or JD Martinez to add another bat to that lineup in that DH slot.
I would take JD Martinez over Turner. I love Justin Turner. I love who he is as a player. He was fun to watch in Boston this past year. JD Martinez was fun to watch in Boston too. Yep. Martinez had a resurgence in LA last year. He's played in Arizona before. He knows what that team's about, that organization's about. I think Martinez is the right fit there. And I thought Turner was going to end up back in LA, but I don't think that's going to happen now.
Yeah, I always forget that JD Martinez spent half a season in Arizona.
Yeah. It was only a half season? I thought
he got traded there by Detroit, and then he signed in the offseason with the Red Sox.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he was there for a couple of years, but
no, it feels like it. But yeah, it was only half. I'm like, yeah, how long was he there for? And I'm like, 62 games. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it was Houston for 3 years, Detroit for 3.5, Arizona for a half, Boston for 5, LA for 1.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. So I would like to see JD over JT in Arizona. And it would be.
I think JD's got more pop left in his bat than Turner does.
And he's a higher average guy for that lineup. That lineup is gonna get on base. People actually saw what the Diamondbacks can do. And I hope they run it back hard next year.
Oh, for sure.
They were so much fun to watch. But all right. Yeah. Let's head home and get the rest of the news from the week wrapped up here. So they released this week that there's going to be kind of like a futures game they do during the All-Star break, but they're going to do like a prospect game in the spring training. I didn't see if they're going to do like one for the Grapefruit League and then one for the Cactus League or how that's going to work. But I just know that they're going to do like a prospect showcase game during spring training. So thought that was kind of cool to really see the up and coming guys and see what they got. So kind of cool. Shohei comes out and announces that he is open to left field as soon as he can throw. Okay, cool.
Whatever.
Yeah, when's that? At the end of 2024? Yeah. Like,
if I remember correctly, cool. He was not very good in the outfield. That's why they stopped putting him out there.
Yeah. But I mean, when your team's putting up 10 runs a game, it doesn't matter where you put him. But
well, and I think too, the other part of it is, do you really want him out there making throws, trying to grab a ball off the wall, turn and gun it to home plate if he's pitching tomorrow? Like, no.
Right. And it's different when Harper came off it and he's playing first base where you're not putting a lot of stress on your arm, right?
Yeah, I mean, will he go play left field for a little while this season? Yeah, maybe to open up the DH spot for somebody else, which makes you wonder if the Dodgers are thinking about going back and getting JD to come back. That might make sense to say, look, can you play some outfield and we'll mix JD in? Yeah. But, I mean, putting him in the outfield doesn't move the needle for me.
No. It was just interesting there. It's like you're trying to protect his arm coming off his second Tommy John, and which is weird. Did you watch Shohei's press conference at all?
I didn't. I've kind of lost interest in the whole thing. And everything just seems so scripted.
His press conference was weird because a reporter came out and asked him straight up, "Did you have your second Tommy John surgery already?" And he kind of sidestepped the question. And he said, "I had a procedure done. You can call it Tommy John or whatever you want if you want, but I just had a procedure done. I don't know what it's called here." Wow. So like it was very cryptic and very weird. But I remember watching it live and I was like, what kind of answer is that? He completely sidestepped like, yes, it was my second Tommy John. All he said was, I had a procedure done on my elbow. And that's how he left it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like scuttle after that about like what exactly did he get done for a surgery, because apparently it's different. But from what I understand is that a second Tommy John surgery is different from the first, because they can't go take they can't reuse what was already there. They took that ligament or tendon from somewhere else. They can't go take it again,
right?
Because the second one just doesn't generally happen,
right?
So maybe what he's saying is it was different because it really was. But there's all kinds of like people now going back and forth. Like, what did he actually get done? Has he actually gotten surgery done? Like, is his elbow going to be okay? And the whole world's like, what is he saying?
Yeah. So, and I don't think it was lost in translation there either. Like, he completely sidestepped the question and was just like, I just had a procedure done. And like, you guys call it Tommy John, but it wasn't Tommy John. It was a different procedure. Like,
yeah. Okay, and then his agent even responded back saying, he was asked point blank, and he said that there is no name for a second Tommy John. It's not Tommy John because it's a different surgery. Because you got to use different pieces, and it's very uncommon to get two of these. So there's not technically a name for it, and it's not the same procedure, but it is basically the same outcome.
Right. You're fixing your flexor tendon in your elbow.
Right. And in typical agent speak, his progress is so far ahead of the typical timetable to recover that nobody should be worried about him.
Okay.
Thanks, bud. Thanks, Nez.
All right. So the all MLB teams were announced. And I mean, honestly, really no surprises here. First team, your catcher was Adley Rutschman, Freddie Freeman at first, Marcus Semien at second, Seager at short, Austin Riley at third, Shohei's your DH, Ronald Acuna is your outfield, Betts is your outfield, Corbin Carroll is your outfield. No issues with that starting lineup hitting.
No, I mean, that's the only argument you can make is Freeman versus Olsen, but I think I'd give it to Freeman given what he does.
And I mean, Olsen gets represented on the second team. Yep. I mean, I think that's fine. This is the pitching aspect of this is where it loses me a little bit.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole, Zach Gallen, Blake Snell, Spencer Strider, Shohei Ohtani are your 5 starters. Now, listen, I know Shohei is a once in a generation player. I completely get it. I think he's a second team starting pitcher, not a first team.
Sure.
I could replace him with Kevin Gausman or Nathan Eovaldi out of the second team pitchers, personally.
I mean, I agree. I think you can make a case for a lot of guys to slide into that spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make a case for Wheeler, for Nola, for Valdez. I mean, there's a lot of guys you can make a case for.
Yeah.
And guys that honestly I would take ahead of Shohei.
Right. I was just trying to take guys that were on the second team pitching staff.
Yeah, fair.
And just go with there.
I mean, it's hard to narrow it down to 10 pitchers. I mean, I get that, but I just what I'm kind of fatigued on is the whole like let's just pencil Ohtani as the best guy ever.
Right.
Okay. Like, can we at least talk about the other guys that are out there too?
Right. Is Ohtani an amazing pitcher? Yes. Not saying that. Is he top 5 in the league right now?
No. I mean, no, he's not. He's probably not even top 10.
Yeah. And this past year, do you think he was top 5?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe inside of the top 10, top 10, but like when I go down that list of other pitchers, I'm like, I don't know that he is.
Yeah.
And it's not a knock on him. I mean,
no. What he does is unreal.
What he does is unreal. And it comes at a very high cost, given a second Tommy John surgery and everything else he's got going on. But
right.
But I mean, what he's doing is he's playing baseball as it was played 100 years ago. That's how baseball was. Babe Ruth, he pitched.
Right.
I'm not sure if we remember that, but he pitched, and he's pretty damn good. And he also hit a few home runs in his day.
Just a couple.
So I mean, is he a generational talent? Absolutely, because baseball's not played that way anymore. But this is not like brand new to baseball.
Right.
Like go back 100 years, those guys pitched, and those guys didn't pitch every 5 days. They pitched like every 3.
Yeah. Right.
They pitched constantly.
Yeah. So. I mean,
but I'm fatigued on the whole, like, let's just make Shohei Ohtani the baseball god. Like, there are other guys in the league who are pretty freaking good.
Yeah. Right. And it's not a career, it's a season award.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I would have put him in the top 5.
Yeah. He was what, pitching. 9-3 with a
3.14. I think a 3.14, if I remember correctly.
So, I mean, he had a good season. It wasn't like he was like lights out.
Right. I'm with you.
It was good.
Your first team relievers were Felix Bautista and Josh Hader. I mean,
hard to argue.
Yeah. Your second team catcher was Jonah Heim. Here's your Matt Olson at first base. Ozzie Albies at second. Lindor at short. People forget he had a 30-30 season this year.
Because the Mets were terrible. Nobody cared. But
absolutely.
Lindor is an absolute machine.
Yep. Jose Ramirez at third, Alvarez, the DH second team, Aaron Judge, outfielder, Adolis Garcia, outfielder, Kyle Tucker, outfielder. And then this is your second team starting rotation. Kevin Gausman, Sonny Gray, Nathan Eovaldi, Jordan Montgomery, Kyle Bradish.
Kyle Bradish was so good.
So
out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to make a comment here that may not go over real well, but I think the second team beats the first team. Just saying.
Yeah.
In a 7-game series, I think that second team wins.
It would be one hell of a game to watch. That's for sure.
I'd love to see them play it out.
Right. That's what they should do instead of the All-Star game. Just put the first and second team.
God, could you imagine?
All MLB team together.
7-game series. Let's go, boys.
Yep. Devin Williams and Emmanuel Clase are your second team relievers, which is interesting that Clase is second team and he led the league in saves. And Josh Hader got the nod over him.
Well, because Clase led the league in blown saves too.
Touche, sir.
I want to say he had like 13 blown saves. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
I think pretty sure like the Guardians would have gone undefeated if he hadn't blown all those saves.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yep. Oh man, huge news, Nick. 14 minutes ago, the Giants signed backup catcher Tom Murphy to a 2-year deal.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
Ooh, game changer. It'll just flash across MLB.com for me.
Nice. All right. We have Red Sox news, Red Sox Hall of Fame. It was released today that Jonathan Papelbon, Dustin Pedroia, and Trot Nixon are being inducted into the Red Sox Hall of Fame.
Love it.
Absolutely love that, with being able to watch their careers growing up. And
those are my high school and college years. Like those were the best years to be a Red Sox fan were like 2001 to 2010. I mean, 2013 was good and all, but that 04, watching the 03 battle, the 04 battle, the 07, like those were great seasons.
Yeah. All right. And to end with what I have is we have just the available free agents that are still out there for signing. So we're waiting on Yamamoto. We got Bellinger, Matt Chapman still out there, Snell, Marcus Stroman. Marcus Stroman was seen in Toronto, so possibly a reunion there. Giolito, Montgomery, Kevin Kiermaier looking like a role player there, probably.
Yeah. Good, solid role player, though.
Yep. And Iwamaga or Imanaga. It's Imanaga, I think.
Imanaga, yep.
Yeah. So those are your kind of your 10 remaining like big names that are waiting to sign here.
Yeah.
Coming down the stretch here.
It's been very quiet on most of that list too, which is strange.
Yeah. So we will see what happens in the next week or so. If nothing happens the rest of this week, we're not going to hear anything until after the new year, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's going to be quiet. I mean, once you get to the kind of Thursday, Friday this week, I think a lot of people are packing up the front office for the holidays, so it's going to be quiet.
Yeah. So you might hear a little bit of rumblings between Christmas and New Year's. Who knows? Somebody might get a bag underneath their Christmas tree. So we'll see. But
I would not be shocked if you see Yamamoto sign on like Wednesday, to sneak it in before the holiday.
Yeah, I think he's coming like really, really soon.
Because I think the other part of this too is that these guys want to make sure they get their headlines. Like there's a lot of ego and pride that goes into signing this kind of a deal. You don't want to sign that thing on the Sunday before Christmas when nobody's paying attention.
Right.
Like you want that to land when people are paying attention.
Yep. Agree.
So I would not be shocked if Yamamoto, we wake up one of these mornings and boom, he signed somewhere. And it's a huge deal.
Yeah. So, all right. That's all I had for this week. Do you have anything to add?
I got a few things for you. So
all right, bring it.
As of a couple hours ago, Philadelphia Phillies are reportedly being very aggressive in the bidding for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They are not afraid to go to provide him his ask if needed. So the Phillies have jumped heavily into the bidding, and apparently that Bryce Harper call went a long way to bringing him to want to have a meeting with Philadelphia.
Yep, which we kind of said at the beginning of the show, like they're now in the fold. So
so as of a couple hours ago, they are aggressively bidding on him, considering him an important piece of their team for next year. Yeah. The Cubs right now are rumored to be close to signing Rhys Hoskins as of a few hours ago.
Who are?
Like Hoskins to the Cubs, which if that happens, that'd be fantastic. Blue Jays are in talks with the Reds about Jonathan India. That would be an interesting one. And yet another case of Major League Baseball just doesn't get it. Wander Franco today earned a $700,000 bonus from the MLB pre-arbitration pool, although he is technically not in baseball right now.
How does that even work?
So if you remember in the CBA, they added that pre-arbitration bonus pool where a few of your players that like outperform their pre-arbitration contracts, they get a little piece of this money. Well, because Wander Franco's stats and his WAR were above his peer group, he gets a bonus to bring him up to more of a market rate. So he earned $700K today, although he's technically not on the roster at the moment because he's under investigation.
It's funny because I don't think he actually plays with his peer group. But
Wow. Wow. But
Terrible.
just another case where Major League Baseball looks like they just don't get it. Wander Franco got the 13th largest bonus in the entire pool. A little over
That's
$706,000 was sent to him today for his performance this past year. So, I mean, he's got to provide for his 12-year-old girlfriend somehow, I'm sure.
dude, I can't. That's unreal.
It's MLB it's the most MLB thing they could do. We're gonna pay this guy out a bonus. It doesn't make any sense. But the number one earner in that pool was Julio Rodriguez, who earned $1.87 million of the $50 million pool.
I mean, come on. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. But I had to laugh when I saw the breakdown. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. MLB actually is going to pay Wander Franco a bonus while he's technically suspended pending investigation.
I mean, I'm sure MLB wasn't happy they had to do that. But there has to be a clause, like a character clause somewhere in the CBA, right? If you're under investigation for whether it's steroids or off the field issues,
maybe something as simple as if you're currently suspended, we're not going to pay you.
Right. And like that blows my mind. Like how that verbiage is not in the CBA.
So he got the sixth largest payout in that pool, which is MLB being MLB.
Wow. That's crazy.
I thought you'd appreciate that one.
My goodness.
That's all I got. We'll end on that note.
Great. All
Wild.
All right. So Harrison and I will work out a time for next week. Obviously, we're not going to be on for Christmas.
You don't want to spend Christmas Day with our fans, Nick?
I mean, I do.
My family would kill me, but that's fine.
That's what I'm saving you, not me. So I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. As we, have embarked on this journey. It's been awesome. Thank you for the support. It's much appreciated. I can't believe this is our third Christmas doing this show.
I know. And I'm going to ask for the same thing I asked the last two Christmases. I want Santa to deliver an ace to the Red Sox.
Yes, please.
I'm 0-2 so far. So
yeah. Well, third time's a charm.
No,
maybe.
No, it's not.
Not going to happen. But yeah. So again, thanks to everybody. Like it means more than you know. We love the support and having you guys interact with us and share all our stuff, and it means a lot. So enjoy your holidays. We will be on next week, so keep your eye on the page. We'll either do it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there maybe between Christmas and New Year's, and hopefully some more news will drop between now and then. But we'll keep our eyes peeled, keep your ears open, and we'll keep you in the loop. All right. So before you go, just make sure that you like, subscribe, share our podcast. You can listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you next week. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And we will see you next week.